Happy Tuesday, everyone. This is your host of Chatty Charles, Charles Anthony. I'm just going to start off before I get into today's episode and thank all of you guys so much for downloading, sharing, and listening to my podcast and bearing with me. I know my first 2 episodes, a little shaky there, but it's me just getting started in the podcast world. And I'd like to, thank you for bearing with me, working out bugs. And as you can see, we sound great now. And we're getting into our 4th episode now. That's what our 4th episode is about today. And once again, thank you guys for tuning in to Chatty Charles. So, let's get started. It's time. Chatty Charles. Today, I want to talk to my listeners about a very serious issue that exists in many couples' relationships, friendships, work environments, personal lives, and sometimes it goes noticed, and sometimes, unfortunately, it goes unnoticed. That subject, it's emotional abuse. Now, I personally have witnessed emotional abuse firsthand, observing some of my close friends' relationships, and personally identifying as a victim of emotional abuse and of domestic violence. According to mentalhealth.net, every minute, approximately 20 people are the victims of physical abuse by an intimate partner just alone in the United States. Every month, the National Domestic Violence Hotline receives over 27,000 calls for help. Over 27,000 calls for help. Each year, over 10 million Americans are subject Each year, over 10 million Americans are subjected to psychological and physical abuse from people that they love and that they trust the most. Over 10 million Americans. Can you believe that, guys? That's an outrageous number alone of just Americans, and that's not even reporting on the numbers around the world. Just alone, over 10 million alone in America. I took some time, due to this being a very important matter and subject to me and being a victim of emotional and domestic violence. I took the time to do some research, read many articles, listened to many stories pertaining to this epidemic, and I found that just alone in our country, there's so many different complex scenarios, stories, tragedies, and so many different facts on millions and millions of different victims and their encounters, just like myself. It's a profound abuse that, it really doesn't skip over any one man, one woman, race, gender, sexual preference. It doesn't skip over any one human. It's definitely alive, and we are all vulnerable to its evil actions. And unfortunately, some people are still facing the horrid face of this abuse, and they're stuck in those terrible situations because there are factors that many people don't understand, and they can't comprehend just how hard the situation is to that victim, or how it was for that victim at that time. unfortunately can become a sickness to both parties involved in the abuse, from the aggressor, it being the sickness of the aggression they're giving to the victim, and the victim obviously receiving the aggression from the attacker. You know, we all know the story of Romeo and Juliet. You know, it's in this case with the abusive aggressors were the two feuding families, the Montagues and the Capulets. They're leading their star-crossed lover, the leading star-crossed lovers. They end up taking their lives in Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet take their lives in this tragic closing of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. They said that was said to be written sometime between the years 1591 and 1595. So, literally, emotional abuse is nothing new. It's not something that just developed over the last 100 years, and people are just talking about it. It's not a new epidemic. It's been around for hundreds of years and centuries. Some of these characteristics, unfortunately, get passed down in traits, probably through some of these family genes, creating the emotional aggressors in these modern times that we live in today, unfortunately. Most emotional abuse, people don't even realize it's found right there inside the home. And then more than over half the time, it's not even reported because of the fear and the scare and the entrapment some of these victims may feel. Men, don't think that this doesn't even pertain to you, because it does. According to mentalhealth.net, there's a survey they did of 571 Americans and their experiences in abusive relationships. For men, 50.77% of men, they felt fearful or uncomfortable in their current relationships. That's their current relationships that they're in right now with the partner. So 50.77% of men are feeling fearful and uncomfortable in the current relationship that they are in right now as we speak. Whereas now you can look at 36.45% of men who felt fearful or uncomfortable in their past relationships. So you have 36.45% of men that felt fearful or uncomfortable in their past relationships. Those men obviously aren't in those relationships anymore. But you see how the numbers work? Obviously, women still have the highest numbers. But men, don't think this does not, as I said again, pertain to you. Because it does pertain to you as well. I know this also pertains a lot to the transgender community. It's very tragic, the lives that have been lost due to hate within not just this country, but around the world for our transgender members. They are part of our community, and that community is the world. And they deserve the same respect, love, compassion, and care, just like any other human being. Again, the percentages for those men, that was all based on a study that was actually done by 571 Americans for mentalhealth.net. There's a very good prime example, this abuse, this emotional abuse, we can see exist by watching the case of one Robert Kelly. Yes, unfortunately, I know we've heard so much about him in the news. A lot of us have seen the series, and a lot of us have seen the interviews, especially the one with Gail. But R. Kelly, yes, how many victims he has victimized? Just the number, ridiculous. These poor girls, they can't even realize the psychological abuse that R. Kelly has been giving them. He's brainwashed these girls. Robert Kelly took all these girls and separated them from their families and all their lives. He just basically cut them off from all their communication they had with anyone, brothers, sisters, friends, relatives, mom, dad, the people that nurtured, loved them, grew up with them, knew them, that were friends with them, people that have been around for years and years in their lives. And here comes R. Kelly, who isolates these girls and takes them away from all human existence and communication from their past, therefore isolating and brainwashing them, causing psychological abuse. They don't even realize how humiliating this can be, that they're being humiliated. That's another form of the abuse that comes in relationships, and another form of abuse besides the psychological abuse that R. Kelly's doing. He's humiliating these girls by performing sexual acts, whether it's with these girls or taking another girl and doing this acts or these acts in front of other girls. It's taking victim from victim. They're taking victims and using them and pitting them against other victims. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. The way he controlled these these girls, starting with them from their ages, just teens, some of them preteens. It's who isolates these girls and takes them away from all human existence and communication from their past, therefore isolating and brainwashing them, causing psychological abuse. They don't even realize how humiliating this can be, that they're being humiliated. That's another form of the abuse that comes in relationships, and another form of abuse besides the psychological abuse that R. Kelly's doing. He's humiliating these girls by performing sexual acts, whether it's with these girls or taking another girl and doing this acts or these acts in front of other girls. It's taking victim from victim. They're taking victims and using them and pitting them against other victims. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. The way he controlled these girls, starting with them from their ages, just teens, some of them preteens. It's just sick. I don't even want to talk it. We're going to move on from R. Kelly because it's just insane that this man got away with a lot of this, and he is now just serving some time for not even a handful of those girls. Anyway, there's a doctor of psychology here in Los Angeles by the name of Nancy B. Irwin, and she states a lot of victims often become dependent on their abusers because, and I quote from her, the familiar unconscious attraction. The hallmark trait of an abuser is control. Most will slowly reel the victim with their money or other forms of care and attention, demanding 100% trust and dependence on him or her. Again, guys, you can be a victim, so him or her. And she also stated that also partners tend to control their partner's schedules, their time with their friends, the family, the money, outside activities, all types of variables, definitely all types of variables. That's emotional abuse, whether people realize that or not, and psychological abuse, whether people realize that or not. You're going to try to control a factor of something for who? For you? Is it for me or for both of us? No, it's for you. You're trying to have a control of me and not allow me to have my freedom and my will to do what I want to do. These are all relatable things I can definitely relate to and that I've experienced personally with an ex from my past. You know, this is so surreal, people. So surreal. I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back to talk a little bit more here on Chatty Charles right after a quick word from our sponsors. It's not always easy, to admit that you're in an abusive relationship, or sometimes you don't even know the signs that you're in one. That wasn't the case. It wasn't an abusive relationship from the beginning. It developed over time. Sometimes you're with a partner and, one might be a little bit more jealous. There's always sometimes in couples that one alpha in the relationship, or the one that stands out more to people and that just brings, more of a attraction. People are more attracted to them in not necessarily looks manner, but more in the way of just they're social. They're a very social person. They're outgoing. They're someone fun to be around. That was me. I'm a very outgoing social person, easy to get along with, entertaining, and people like to have me in their company. And I had many friends at this point. It was a time I was probably around 21 years old when I got in this relationship. I was 21, 24 in that relationship, and it was the time I was living in Philadelphia,
Yes, the city of brotherly love. I do miss that city. I love that city so much. It's a home to me too as well. I'm L.A. by way of Philly by way of Maryland. So, great city, and that city of brotherly love. That was my city that I found after I left University of Pittsburgh, and I come out of the closet when I was 19 years old, 99. At this point, it's 2002. I'm sorry, 2002, 2001, 2002, and I'm in Philadelphia, living in Center City, off of Spring Garden Street, and I had my best friend there from college, Ashley. She's from Philly originally, and she had moved back to Philly, and I'd gone to Philly as well, followed her. She's my best friend. She's like sister. She's my family. She's bestie, my family. And what better city than to experience brotherly love than Philadelphia? It's definitely a different city than Pittsburgh. Being out in Pittsburgh was quite different than definitely in Philadelphia. Philadelphia just had more access, I guess, to New York, New Jersey, just different cities and different types of guys, and very different than Pittsburgh. Don't get me wrong, I do love my Pittsburgh gays. Shout out to Pittsburgh. Haven't been there since 2002. Well, I've gone back after that, but it's been about 2 decades since I've gone there. But yeah, in this relationship, let me get back to this. So I was in this relationship, and my best friend John, I talked to you guys about him on my bestie episode. My best friend John was dating this guy, and they've been together probably at the 2-year mark at this point, and I was already at the 3-year mark with my ex. And we would always take little ventures together, like couples of ventures. They would come visit us in Philadelphia, and I'm from Maryland, and they lived in Maryland. We'd go down to Maryland, go hang out with them. We'd stay at my parents' house, hit up DC, hit up Baltimore. May all those bars and gay clubs rest in peace, because they're no longer with us. And it's everyone's great. And no, everyone could say me and my ex could do no harm. It was me and him, and they would always say our names, and we were very well known in the city. We were known to have some great parties. Very, very well known for entertaining and having a good time. And me going to classes over at Temple University, and him being at work, I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to meet friends, and yes, they're going to be college students, and yes, they're going to be gay guys. There's going to be hot girls. There's going to be all types of college students, and I'm college, so basically, it became a trust issue of not trusting me because I have a biology partner or a lab partner, or what may you have. And then I said, okay, well, I have to do study at the study group, and then I have to do this project. So what we'll do is we're going to work on a project, do this, and then what we'll do is we'll meet you out at happy hour. There's a great place in Center City in the neighborhood that was called Bump. May it rest in peace. It's no longer there. But shout out to Philadelphia again. Everyone knows Bump. It was the greatest place to go for happy hour. One of my good friends actually, Chris, who lives here in LA, who's from Philadelphia, he used to meet us there. And everyone just knew the spot because they had a great happy hour that started at 5 p.m. and went to 7 p.m. They had an amazing DJ named Paris DJing in there. Amazing host named Sione, who goes by Madison. And it was just the place to be. $3 martinis, Cosmos, whatever. And get your drink on, get your eat on, half-price menu. It was very swanky, very Cosmo, very Sex in the City for Philadelphia gays. It was very trendy, so that's where people gathered, and people would come after work. And that's a meetup spot. So, yeah, my college friends from Temple University meet me there, or I'd come with my lab partner or whoever it may be, people that I've met out in the community, people I've met in clubs, people that I've worked with. You meet people in a city. You don't want to be confined to just one group and one activity and one social group. So eventually over time, with the drunk, my partner, would develop these notions that I wasn't studying or I wasn't doing a project or working on whatever I needed to do for my assignment, and that my friend or partner from school had other intentions, and that we were messing around and we weren't doing work, which is just like ridiculous considering the fact that I'm like, well, you see what I've been working on and how hard this project's been and all the research I've been putting in and all the work I've been doing. Keep in mind also trying to balance the social life, also college, also managing Abercrombie and Fitch, one of the flagship stores, and also being a manager at TGI Fridays, a bar manager, assistant bar manager. So my schedule and my plate was just fully packed. And being able to be in a relationship and still attend all the events for his work, you know, he worked in a religious institution and worked with children, and, you know, he had a lot of events, and you know, everyone who knows Charles, you know, I love my Jew world, I love my Jews. Hello, my fellow Jews. And, you know, it's a great world. A lot of great connections. I met amazing people. I've met some amazing celebrities, and I've stayed in some beautiful penthouses in New York, and it's the highlight still to this day. One of the best times of my life. You know, it's my first true love. Always been my love. But, you know, I was just saying, over time, the jealousy kicks in. And then when you're there at Bump, combined with alcohol, martinis, drinks, and they're coming. Because, I mean, you got that 2-3 hour drinking window, so you know people are throwing them back, $3, boom, boom. By the time you take your first sip, you already had your hand up, ordering your next drink. So, induced with alcohol, jealousy, and this one guy, this banker that... my ex is really jealous of, because, all right, y'all, before the Facebook time and MySpace, there was something called Friendster, which was like the first Facebook, and I don't know, you know, people talk, and yeah, I mean, it's okay to say that someone else is cute. There's no problem with that. You're allowed to look, don't touch, you know, and this was this hot guy. Keep in mind, my partner was hot too, but this guy was like more, you know, of the athletic buff jock at the time, and that drove my ex's head just into some kind of frenzy that had all types of fireworks going off, and it started drawing all types of red flags, and it started developing over time consistently over the course of, I would say, the last year and a half of a relationship. You know, it's like I would go to so for instance, we would always try to get a booth table by the window so we can, people watch, get our drinks on. And, you know, back in the day, people would run to the bathroom, do other things. We don't need to go there, but kind of do things like the name of the restaurant they were actually at. So, assuming that, like, if I'd happen to come out of the bathroom and this other kid came out the bathroom sometime around the time I came out, I had no idea he was in a different stall. There's like 10 stalls. How the hell am I supposed to know he's somewhere in the bathroom? I'm not out there looking. I went to the bathroom to pee. You know, I'm coming back, and I come out and, oh, what were you two doing? What are you talking about? I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I went to pee. Oh, well, that's just real suspicious. He's coming out of the bathroom at the same time you're coming out of the bathroom. I was like, I didn't even see this bitch go in the bathroom, dude. Like, you've been drinking. Calm down, like, don't get in your head, blah, blah, blah. I'm here with you, you know I love you, and do all the things right to, like, you know, try to avoid having an embarrassing situation in public, and especially in that community in Philadelphia. Y'all know people talk. People talk. It doesn't matter what community or where you are, people talk. People like to spread gossip. Because people ain't got nothing better to do than talk about other people, because they ain't got nothing going on in their lives. So I wasn't about to have nobody up in my business and speculating stuff on my relationship. It was a situation that I was going to rectify, like I rectify every situation. So trying to avoid the confrontation at Bump at happy hour with, Lord knows, probably 100 gays all smushed up in a restaurant drinking martinis and Cosmos and half price entrees. Ooh, chicken tortellini was the best. That was my meal, man. So we're all gathered there, and then it gets to the point where, some people, in order to keep able, excuse me, some people, in order to keep able to drink, they need to, I guess, fuel themselves, or they need to pick me up. We all know what we're talking about. It's the white lady, white powder, the Coco Chanel. Yes, the pick me up. And obviously in the gay community, that was very popular, especially in 2000, 2001. I mean, it's been popular since Lord. Y'all have seen 54, and I ain't got to tell you how long cocaine has been around. But it would be like, okay, get this boy bump, sober him up, whatever it's going to take so that we can have a good time, because he's really killing my vibe, he's killing my buzz. And it was just to the point I didn't want to be embarrassed. So thank God for my best friend Vinny in Philadelphia. Shout out to Vinny. Would always be there. He's like, yo, let's just go smoke. Like, like my 420, go smoke, relax, cool. My ex didn't smoke, he didn't smoke. Now he does. How fortunate. If he'd smoked when we were together, things would have been a lot better. It's still in his back of his mind, but his mouth gets very loose and his tongue gets very loose right after with the juice, and start saying some things that are hurtful, they're not nice, and they can be directed towards anyone. Anyone is a victim. Anyone in his line of fire, be prepared, because the alcohol and the cocaine is kicked in, and this one's on a roll. So things used to come out of his mouth, whether it was vulgar, cursing, or being funny, but him thinking it's funny, but but not realizing that in his head he thinks it's funny, but it's kind of what he's saying is kind of intrusive, and it's demeaning, some of the things he says. I just grin and bear it and just try to move away from the situation so that everyone can have a good time, as I said. So, happy hour ends, the night moves on, you shift from one place to head to the next place. Got your group of friends, and you get to the next place, got your boo with you, you're having a good time, and then probably 2-3 drinks in, and my ex be there, and then he sees a dealer at the end of the bar, and he's going to refuel himself up so that he has more pick-me-up. So that's more enabling the terrible things that will eventually come out of his mouth later on in the evening, to the point where it doesn't make you comfortable to want to go home, because you want to avoid getting into that situation. You don't want to get into confrontation, you don't want to fight, and nobody wants to go to bed angry, and it's just like a whole thing. Like, because when you come home after a good night, you want to go to bed, get some rest, wake up, start your day, do your thing. And my thing was getting up in the morning, taking my ass to Temple, going to fucking class, getting out of class, coming home, having that hour to eat lunch, to make myself a nice lunch, jump in my car, drive my ass all the way to Exton, Pennsylvania, to go manage Abercrombie and Fitch. Sometimes closing the store, but then sometimes leaving right after the height of rush hour. And keep in mind, it was like an hour to Exton from Philadelphia with the commute. So then racing from Exton, Pennsylvania, to drive all the way down to Center City, Philadelphia, because one of my Temple classes was in Center City, my art history class. So doing that at the same time, but stopping at home, because you know that you're having a dinner party at your house with 15 other guests, preparing awesome teriyaki salmon for your first time, and elaborate spread, chafing dishes to entertain, oh Lord, who knows, 15 to 25 guests for dinner parties. That's how our dinner parties always were, because we were very extravagant and over the top, as I said. We were bougies, the bougie Jews. So it's kind of like people had expectations for us, but, people knew how we were. We had to always top the last thing we did. So that, I guess, developed an ego, I guess I could say. Yeah. I don't know why I'm saying I guess. Yeah, he developed an ego. His shit didn't stink. And his shit didn't stink, our shit didn't stink, but it wasn't about that. It's like no one ever really, had to be flashy. It's like we're all friends. We're all here together doing things. We always entertain our place, and our friends entertain at their places too. But this is we had a really nice place and really nice things because we didn't spare any expense, and he likes to be bougie. So over the course of time, the things that came out of his mouth towards me and my friends, and like sometimes, and I made sure that when we got, was it our second place, or we had 3 places together, I believe, and it's like, we had to make sure it's a 2-bedroom, because if you get on my nerves or I'm upset with you or something, we need to have that separation. And I explained that to him, like, we need to be able to have that room so that we don't end up at each other's throats. I never was the one to initiate it. I don't know what his friends believe now, or what the story is that has been passed on. I don't know. I'm pretty sure after even all these years, they can kind of see that, it was never me that started that shit, because I just don't do things like that, and I don't like to draw attention to my relationships, and especially drama and a situation that turns into domestic violence and verbal abuse. Definitely not. It's like there were times like the checkup, like, oh my God, like, where I am. I'm at Vinny's. Dude, where do I go after my class when I have my art history class twice in Center City? After rushing from Abercrombie and Fitch, I go chill with my dog, Vinny, who lived right down in Center City, because that's my smoke dog, and like that was who I went to go relax with and go smoke and chill and just like vent and just like relax and chill. And here every 5 to 10 minutes, blowing up my phone is my ex. I'm like, dude, where I am. I'm thinking it's just me and Vinny and his roommate. We're chilling, we're smoking, we're chilling. What? I know you miss me. I know you miss me. I love me. I know you love me. I know you miss me. Like, can you not miss me so much? We live together. We do everything together. Like, lunch together. Like, even when I would go to work, he couldn't stand to be away from me. He'd come to my work, and he'd be there constantly, sitting at the bar having drinks. And then get to that certain point where the alcohol is kicking in. And then the nasty words start coming out the mouth because you can't get what you want. Their instant gratification and satisfaction while I'm working and I'm on the job. What the hell? What can I do? I'm at the job working. Please don't embarrass me at my work. Don't, just like, things you don't do. Those are all psychological and emotional things that he used to do. And I was so strong to be able to just put that off. A lot of my friends say to me now, they're like, oh my God, we had, no idea that was going on. Because I don't, like I said, I don't put my business in the streets. I wasn't taught that in my family, you don't have to be spreading your business, and nobody wants no police reports. Nobody wants any records for getting any kind of domestic violence or disputes with your partner. It's not cool. So let me get back. So on Friendster, guys, whatever. This guy I was talking about. On Friendster, before Facebook era, this guy, whatever, I guess his friends like, oh, Charles thinks you're cute, blah, blah. Yeah, he's hot, whatever. So I guess he gets that message, whatever, and he just decides to send me a message on my Friendster page. I'm like, okay, whatever. I had no idea. Randomly, I'm at home one day, after work, or maybe I think I actually had off that evening. Yeah, I remember. And I was like, hey, to my ex, I was like, let's chill. Like, let's just do a movie night, because the movie theater was like down the street. I was like, let's do our thing. Let's go to the diner. Let's go see a good new movie. And if you want to drink, let's just grab a 6-pack from the bar down the street, and we're staying in the house and just have me time. Okay, no problem. So I would think that's what it would be. Well, one beer in and no movie on yet. Probably like 2 bites into dinner, and this one's already ready to be out the door to go get his white lady, his doqueña. So it became a problem because the using of it and the alcohol changed him. It's like you could even see the difference. I could see the difference in his performance. He wasn't like performing to his optimal levels that he usually could at his place of employment, and it got bad because like I would wake up and I'd be like, dude, like, come on, you gotta go to work, you gotta go take care of this, you gotta take care of this. Look at mess, like just little things, and it started to affect everything because it ends up affecting your finances. It just, you see where the money's going to, and it's like, okay, well, I'm paying for this expense. I'm taking care of making sure the rent's paid, making sure the lights are on, making sure this bill's paid. But what image and what way are you coming off to your friends and making this look like? Because I don't know if they're blind, because they have to see that you obviously have a problem and that he was getting bad. Because here it was me covering all this shit, as I said, managing Abercrombie, managing TGI Fridays, going to Temple University at the same time, busy schedule, social life. Oh, did I even mention? And I was working at the club too, 12th Air Command at the time. So yeah, and also doing events with my partner for his work, because he had events going on Monday through Sunday, except for Saturdays on the day of rest. But there were so many bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and events, and I used to dance as well. I forget the name of my role. It was like an MC party goer to get the kids hyped. But loved that job. It was good money, good times. But then like you gotta stop and slow down to think. Is someone that you're with trying to control your social circle? Are they limiting your time with your friends? Constantly calling you, hitting you up when they know your location, they know where you are, just because they have insecurities. Like I told you, my ex was good looking. I was more alpha male, I'm more jock. He was more twinky, but taller than me, but not twinky, but like, and not heavy, not fat, like just smooth, like no muscle, but very, very smooth, like porcelain skin, beautiful. We were definitely a great match, and it really sucked over time because it got to the point where it left our home and it visited us at one of our girls' birthday parties. We were in Atlantic City, and we were having a great time, and my boy was there, my best friend Vinny from Philly, and we were just having a good time, and the girls were there, and my ex, and the alcohol again, and the drug, and the white lady, the cocaine, yeah, had to take effect again, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he starts going off on me in the elevator about this dude who sent me the letter on Friendster. Keep in mind, this is like a year and a half, y'all, 2 years after. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you bringing this? I've never messed around with this dude. Like, that was the kid. I'm like, you still have in the back of your mind that messed around with this dude, and it's going to eat at him in the back of his head. And he keeps bringing it and throwing it in my face. And it would only happen when he's inebriated or under the influence. So it got to the point, I think he came at me, or no, I remember now. Because he would say some things you don't say to anyone. First of all, first things you don't say to a black man, number one. Don't say things, and just like Jews only spit on, nobody should spit on. Don't spit on people. Don't spit on me. Don't say vulgar things to me. Don't start shit with me in a elevator. So I'm trying to get off this elevator, and looking at my best friend Vinny, like, dude, let's get out. Let's just get off this elevator, get out to the boardwalk, and like, this dude needs some air, and things will be fine. And literally, I'm trying to get off the elevator as soon as the door opens, and he's grabbing at me. I'm like, dude, just calm down. He's being loud, obviously causing a scene, and we're at this point now exiting the elevator in the lobby of the hotel, and I'm just trying to get outside so I can avoid the situation of drunk, stupid boyfriend. Well, I get outside the doors, and I remember, like, it was like kind of like a parking garage or something, and I was like, we're just gonna go. we'll meet the girls. Like, we need to go. It's like, you're drunk. Maybe we should just go take a nap. I was like, me and Minnie are just going to go smoke. I think we were trying to go get wraps or something, or like a blunt or something. And then he just, like, swings at me and hits me or something. I don't know how it got to that point, but I do remember just trying to get away. I was like, you're crazy. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. I just get away from you. I'm just going back to the room. And I was like, Vinny, don't let him in here. I'm going back up to the room. Like, where are the girls? Like, this is fucking crazy. And he'd been drinking obsessively. I just want to go to the room and just avoid the situation. And I was like, you know what? If I see the girls, those are his. I'm friends with them through him, even though we're all like a big family at that point. And I'm just like, just let him go to the dinner or whatever. Let the girls have a house to hear it. Like, let him have a good time. He needs to cool off, whatever. Oh no, but I'm in the room chilling because I don't want to have a situation. And there's a knock at the door. Tell me why the both of us end up getting arrested in New Jersey, going to jail for the night, waking up in the morning, being released from jail, and walking down the side of the highway to get back to the hotel. Clothes torn up, scratches and screams on this. It's not a pretty picture. It wasn't a pretty picture at all, guys. And now, just, it gets to a point where you got to ask yourself are you going to let this continue in your life? Do you love someone that much to take a few blows, to have ripped clothes, to be embarrassed walking down the side of a fucking highway, scratches and bruises? And how do you explain this? How do you explain this to the people you work with, or the people you go to school with, or your parents, if you see your parents, and your friends, just in general? Makeup, you can't cover stuff up. I do not wear makeup, and you don't put makeup on cuts. How do you cover it up? I've had my hair pulled out in that relationship. I used to have locks in my hair. I probably still have beautiful locks if it wasn't pulled out the back of my head at some point. Just like the stupid things, like, and it was more of like I would get attacked, like, because I'm the type of person, you put your hands on me, you better run, because I'm gonna. That's all I'm gonna say. If you swing at me or you put your hands on me, you better prepare to be crippled, because don't put your hands on me without permission. That's how I am. Yeah, my friends say, Charles is funny. He's silent. He's a sweet guy. He's like, but he's that type of nigga. You put your hands on him, he will fuck you up. And that's correct. I will fuck you up. So don't put your hands on me. So not doing that. I didn't fuck up my ex. It's more restraint. Like example, like, when we had an incident, and I was like, I just need to go. I need to get out the door. Like, I wanted to get out of our apartment door. And he was like holding the door shut. And I was like, this is over. We can't do this anymore. I can't do this. We need to break up. I love you, but I love you too much to stay in this relationship. This is not healthy. And like, him begging me not to leave. Like, just like, no, please don't leave, crying. And then it's like, just let me go. Fine. I'm just going to go I'm going to go hang out with Vinny. I'm going to go smoke, chill. I'll just crash down there and I'm just going to be at Vinny's house. It's cool. We're not going out. It's already 3 a.m. All the bars are closed. I'll be at Vinny's house. I'm going to smoke in there and chill, let you cool off, because you need to cool off, dude. You need to cool off. Like, you're being loud. You're being very abrasive. And we have neighbors because we live in, apartment complex. And he might be my best friend. Ashley's, Lord, like 4 or 5 doors down. So she, at times, could be an escape to run to. But literally, like, not being able to get out the door. I mean, I lived my parents' house from our apartment in Philly. I can get to my parents' house at that time at night in an hour and 45 minutes. So, I did that one night. We got a fight. I was like, fine, you want to act crazy and you don't want to let me out of our fucking apartment door so that I can get some space and breathe, so that we can come back here collectively and, like, be good as a couple, which couples should do. Take a minute to breathe. Take 30 seconds before you go off on your partner. It's just out of respect. Fine, you don't want to let me out our apartment door so that I can cool off. Fine. You know what my black ass did? We lived on the second floor, y'all. So, did I live on the second floor? Yeah, I was like second floor. Lived on the second floor in a corner unit, balcony. I slid my black ass right off that balcony and right down that pillar. Got into my, what did I have at the time? I got into my Infiniti QX45 SUV, and I drove my black ass right over that Delaware line and right over that Maryland line and right to my parents' driveway. Tell me why. I was in my pajamas. I did not give two fucks. I just wanted to avoid the situation. And I need to clear my head. And I just, sometimes you just want your mom's hug. A hug from your mom can change your life. So basically, I'm in my pajamas. It's, at this point I drive home. Got the fight like 4 in the morning. It's like sun's not up yet, but it's like a good 20 minutes before the sun's about to rise. And I literally take the key, open my parents' front door. I open the front door, the alarm's already off. My mom was already in the kitchen, already has a hot cup of coffee ready for me, like she knew I was coming. Like my mama knew I was coming home. My mama knew her son was on the way. But you know what? My mom did know I was on the way because my ex, even though causing the issue and the reason why I 3-4 in the morning in my pajamas, and I think I had slippers on, driving over 2 state lines so I can relax and get some air and peace. I had called my mother. I'm worried about Charles. We got in a little argument and I don't know. I think he said he was driving home, but I don't know if he was driving home. He's in his pajamas, and I don't even know if he grabbed his wallet. And he's apparently, my mother's like, oh my God, he's frantic on the phone. He really loves you. He's very frantic on the phone. Just wanted to make sure you're okay. Left, and you're obviously in your pajamas and your keys, and he wanted to make sure you had your wallet. Just going on and on. So I know they love me. They dearly love me to death, and just didn't realize at the point that sometimes love don't cost a thing. Sometimes love ain't gotta hurt, and it doesn't have to be physical. It can be emotional abuse. But this shit, we got emotional and physical, y'all. I mean, to the point where it ended was my 2 best friends, my bestie, John, and his partner at the time, visiting me and my ex, and they were staying for, I think they were there for some kind of break, and I think they were there for 3 days staying with us, and we all went out. We had a great time. I just remember that the 4 of us were back at our place, and I was out in the family room, just on the couch with my bestie John and his partner, and we're just shooting the shit, and my ex is there too. He's in the bedroom, and then he, I believe, was still drinking. He had to be doing something because out of nowhere, there he goes, his loose damn fucking mouth. And he starts popping off over on shit. We're like, what are you talking about? I don't know if some kind of chemical imbalance happened at that point. Some kind of loose motherfucking screw. Because this bitch starts with me and then starts yelling at my best friend. And they're like, to the point they're like, oh, we're just going to go. I'm like, you guys are not leaving in the middle of the night and going back to Maryland. You guys are here for another day. And if you're going anywhere, you're taking me with you. And this one, would not let us leave the apartment. We're just going to go. Just let us go. Would not let us leave the apartment. And then pushes me. Somehow we're on the balcony, and then my bestie and his partner are, trying to pull us back into the house. Well, I'm trying to bring it back in the house as well, too, because I'm like, you can't be yelling and screaming at people on the balcony. Nobody wants a noise violation or to get a eviction notice for being loud, disturbing the peace, or nobody wants the cops up in their building. So I guess at some point, my bestie and his partner, they're like, oh my God, they're steering us towards getting back into the apartment because I guess they thought one of us was about to go off that balcony. It sure as hell wouldn't have been me. But I would never throw a name off a balcony. So at some point, I'm just like, I'm just going to go. I remember going towards my front door, and this motherfucker full on headbutts me, bam. And I'm standing there in shock, and I'm just like, did you, he spit on me, and he had headbutt me, then he headbutt me, and I was like, did you spit on me? Did you fucking spit on me and then headbutt me? And then and I remember just putting my hand in my face, and then pulling my hand off my face, and just all of a sudden blood just shooting out of my nose. So I literally didn't move. I was just like, what the fuck? And John's like, my bestie was like, oh my god, oh my god, and God, he went to go get me like paper towels and stuff. And at that point, I was just like, it was just too much. And I was just like, I'm leaving. I can't do this anymore. It's over. My best friend, we're there. It's embarrassing. We can't do this anymore. And like literally, it was just too much. Like for my best friend and his partner to see that was just, I was so horrified. It was like my wake up call. So I never, ever want anyone to see me in an abusive relationship, or I was just horrified. Like it was a horror story at that moment. And I right then and there I was just like, this can't, no more, like literally. So this time instead of me jumping in my car and driving back to Maryland, because I had my two friends up from Maryland, I was like, just go spend the night. Go just because his parents live like not even 20 minutes down the road, so he could always go back to his house where he grew up. And he did. And I guess he went home, and parents knew something were up, because they're like, oh my god, he had blood all over him, but it wasn't his blood, it was my blood. At that point, I sat up that night with my best friend and his partner. We just talked about it, and I told them everything. It was like, it all started here and this, and they were like, oh my god, you guys are like the model like gay couple. I was like, I know. Like they're like, I'm like, yeah, but they knew I couldn't stand that relationship. They're like, you gotta get out of this stage. Like I was like, I'm done. This is it, man. It's sad in relationships, especially when you're in love. I mean, it's you don't stay in a relationship just because you're like that perfect gay couple. Because I guess what people don't see, everything that goes on, inside those walls of our house, or in this case, inside the walls of a bar, when there's too much $3 martinis going around for happy hour, and that white lady going off all around the place. So yeah, and the next day it was just to that point. It was like, all right, this is what's happening. John and the help me go stuff. I packed my stuff, and I think I stayed there for like I think I stayed to that month. We had like another 2 weeks left, because I think we broke at least early, but we had 2 more weeks left, and I took that time to pack out the apartment. He stayed at his parents' house 20 minutes down the road, and I spent time with me and the cat there, because we had a cat together. And I got in the place and said farewell to my apartment, my beautiful apartment there, and then said bye to Ashley and then my best friends. I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna be down the road, Maryland. Like I always come back and forth. And yeah, then I went and stopped and said goodbye to my friend Chris after one last drink at TGI Fridays, and drove back to Maryland, and that was the end of that relationship. But I remember just like even a week later, just like talking to my ex and just like, why? What happened? What did we do? We can fix it. I was like, it's too late now. Like, should have thought of this and just apologize. I'm sorry. Like, and realizing I know, like, I love, like, it hurt. It hurt like hell. Like, you love someone to death, and then like they're no longer in your life. When you have someone there for years, you become accustomed to the lifestyle, and for all that just to be thrown away and ripped apart from you, like I lost. So, I'm still friends with them, but like not like hanging out or talking to them. Like I lost my Philly crew, like my friends that I made through that relationship. There were his friends before, I had come into a relationship, but I still send birthday shout outs and cute messages on social media. But separating friends, like sometimes you make friends in that relationship together. Sometimes you bring your friends in from both sides, and sometimes it's hard to break that apart, and it becomes really stressful, and it just takes a toll on you, and you can get PTSD from it, and it just ends up becoming an even bigger situation, and it can develop into depression. And I think that's what happened on his part. He got depressed, the breakup, put on some weight. Alcohol, the situations didn't get any better, and over the course of years, I got phone calls. We're still there. Still, friends for life, love each other to death, and but I could see for a couple years after we broke up, there was a pattern of not good habits, and me getting phone calls in the middle of the night, 4 a.m., California time, and it's 3 hours ahead over there, so you can imagine what might have been going on. So, yeah, but being there because you're generally concerned and care, and you don't want to see anything bad or happen to that person. But then, like, years passed, and we were still friends, and then I think it's been now, I don't know, maybe 4 years since we haven't spoken. Maybe 3, maybe 4. I don't know, because he started dating someone else, and I got a phone call, and it was like, thinks that we shouldn't talk, or we shouldn't be friends because it's not good, because we're trying to develop a new relationship. And I said, hey, you and I have been broken up for like 10, 15 years. We are friends. I'm in California. You're all the way in Philadelphia. It's not like we're together. Your dude's jealous for what reason? I don't know. I don't care. But at that point, when he said that to me on the phone, I could tell that his dude was in the room. And at that point, I said, you know what? Because you got to move on, and I wanted him to move on. I want to stay his friend, but I could tell his boyfriend at the time, his current boyfriend at the time, I think we're still together, I don't know, was in the room, and I said, okay, I get it, you gotta move on, that's good, I understand what your boyfriend's point. I said, okay, well, I hope you have a great new life, and I wish you two happiness. And I hung up the phone, and I immediately blocked his number, and then I blocked his work number, and then I immediately blocked the social media account on Facebook. That's all he had then. And I cut that communication off, and then I didn't hear from him for like 3 months. He somehow called me on a different number from a different work phone. Got through him, and then I just stopped picking up. Philadelphia and New Jersey area codes, unless I knew the number and your name popped up, and it was like one of my best friends, like Ashley or Vinny. And I just cut the ties of communication for the sake of him, so that he can move on his life, and I can move on my life. I'm not with anyone. I haven't dated anyone. No, but I hope my ex is doing well, and I wish him the best in life. But yeah, guys, there's so many different factors to being in abusive relationships. You don't even know it. It can be relationships with your friends. It can be relationships with a partner. It can be with your parents. It can be with your peers. It can be with your coworkers. You got to know the hidden signs, guys. It's basically some of the same signs as bullying. Children get bullied as well too. So do adults. Look at our president. He's a bully, and he gets away with everything. It's unacceptable. So guys, I just want you again to just be vigilant, and if you can, please stay safe and get out of that relationship. But there's not always, I guess, people there when you need them. Not every community is the same. Not every community is able to have networks and outreach for everyone, and people to talk to when in that situation, or friends to lift them up, or to help them out, or give them a place to stay to get them out of that situation. But you guys, I don't want you to forget, you can always 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, if you need to talk to someone, there's a number you can call. It's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Call, talk, something on your mind. It's easy. 800-799-7233, y'all. That's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Again, y'all, 800-799-7233. 800-799-7233. National Domestic Violence Hotline. Someone's always at the other end, guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on another Tuesday of my podcast, Chatty Charles. I hope you guys enjoyed this segment on abusive relationships. I will have something new for you guys next Tuesday. Thank you guys for tuning in, downloading, and listening to the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves today. Sounds like you guys did. Well, wrapping up here. I'm going to take it out here. And I'm going to give you guys something that you need to live by. This song by my girl, Amanda Maiden, with DJ EJDN, and this song is called Done. Sometimes in relationships, you gotta know when to throw in the towel and say, I'm done. I'm out, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
This time,
Chatty Charles.
All of
reverbnation.com/Amanda Maiden. Again, reverbnation.com/Amanda Maiden.
Put myself in.